안녕하세요, 여러분. We all know that learning a new language is a lot of fun and one of the most transformative and rewarding experiences in life, but at the same time, it's not always easy. 사실 새로운 언어를 배운다는 게 쉽지만은 않아요. Even if you are naturally talented and have the best environmental conditions, it's still going to be a lot of work and take a long time. But luckily for Korean learners, there are a lot of great resources now, much more than before, surrounding the Korean language, including our own online courses and books, as well as a lot of great Korean movies, TV shows, and songs and literature. So the abundance of materials that we have now makes the Korean language easier to learn than ever before. But still, we need to consider these two things, I think. Number one, there are more tools and materials we can utilize now, but the fundamental process of a human being learning to acquire a new language after growing up as adults remains basically the same. So if you want unrealistically quick results or just want easy ways, you're probably not going to achieve your goals and you will only be disappointed. You still need to put in the work using those great new tools and resources that you have. 그리고 두 번째, number two, in 2022, we now have more things distracting our focus than ever before. It is just generally becoming harder for many people to just concentrate on one activity for more than, say, 30 minutes or 10 minutes even, without scrolling or checking every single notification on their phone. And we need a fair amount of uninterrupted focus in order to really understand and acquire how a new language works and also absorb and retain a lot of new knowledge such as grammar or vocabulary knowledge. So that I think means that more than ever before, we need to learn how to learn well because there are more resources and tools available, but at the same time, there's more distraction too. Now, there are hundreds of videos on the internet already about how to learn languages. So today in this video, I'm just going to go over 4 action items that I think you can try in 2024 to learn Korean better and in a more smart way. Action item number 1, make a routine. Instead of relying on your willpower every day and hoping that your future self will decide to study Korean, set a time for studying Korean or, being exposed to the Korean language. Like after dinner or during your lunch break, do one Talk to Me in Korean lesson and keep following the curriculum. Or every evening, watch one Korean drama episode with Korean subtitles on if it's not too difficult for you. Or you can find something else to watch regularly that is in the Korean language. The key is that you shouldn't have to decide to study at a certain moment every time you study. It's much easier if you study just because it's time to study. So make a routine around learning Korean. Action item number 2, use AI tools to maximize your learning amount. So how to use AI tip number 1, you can have a voice chat with ChatGPT to replace at least some of your Korean tutoring sessions or to maximize your practice time, or if your current level of practice time with the Korean language is 0, you can start speaking Korean more regularly this way. So here are 3 things that I suggest that you try. ChatGPT Korean speaking practice method number 1. If you are already able to carry on a conversation in Korean to a certain degree, even if you're not completely fluent, definitely talk or try talking with ChatGPT as much as possible, but be sure to ask the right questions. So instead of just saying really simple things like 안녕, 지금 몇 시야? Which will only give you mainly uninteresting answers, set clear guidelines about the fact that you are a Korean learner, and therefore you would like the responses to be not too long, and also you want some corrections about any potential mistakes you might make. Like this. 한국어 말하기 연습을 하고 싶어. 쉬운 단어로 대답해주고 문장을 너무 길지 않게 해줘. 만약 내가 한 말 중에서 문법이 틀렸거나 어색한 부분이 있으면 더 좋은 표현을 알려줘. 항상 고쳐줄 필요는 없어. 우선 나한테 일상에 관련된 질문부터 하나 해줘.
정말 좋은 생각이에요. 일상생활에서 가장 좋아하는 취미는 무엇인가요?
나는 비디오 게임도 좋아하고 브레이크 댄스도 좋아해.
멋진 취미네요. 비디오 게임과 브레이크 댄스는 에너지 넘치는 활동들이죠.
By the way, it somehow feels more natural to talk to ChatGPT or AI tools in 반말, casual language, and everybody uses 반말 too. So you can go ahead and do that too. It'll be good 반말 practice for you as well. So if you use ChatGPT 4.0, the paid version, I've actually set up a custom GPT that you can also use. So you might want to try that out. Along with that, about the detailed prompts and more information about how to use GPT for your Korean speaking practice, I've written a blog post about it, so click on the link in the description to go ahead and read that. It'll be super helpful. ChatGPT Korean speaking practice method number 2. If you're not yet comfortable speaking Korean in a long conversation that requires a lot of flexibility and fluency, that's fine too. In that case, simply speak in your native language and have GPT respond to you in Korean only, like this. I want to practice speaking Korean and listening to Korean. I'm going to use both English and Korean in my responses. Unless there are further instructions, just reply to me using Korean. Okay? Now ask me a question about snow to start the conversation because it's snowing outside. 지금 밖에 눈이 오고 있어.
눈이 오고 있다니 정말 멋지네요. 눈이 오는 날을 좋아하시나요?
Yeah, I generally like snowy days. 좋아해.
눈이 오는 날은 정말 아름답죠. 눈이 오면 주로 무엇을 하시나요?
This will be a great way to get natural input and have a more comfortable and longer conversation, even if you're not yet fluent in Korean. And basically, by doing this, you are generating an infinite number of sentences that you can listen to based on what you are saying in your language, based on what you're interested in, based on, your daily life. ChatGPT Korean speaking practice method number 3. Do either of those two methods that I just described, but when you can't talk out loud, just type. It's still a very useful way to practice. AI tip number 2. Another way to utilize AI tools to maximize your learning amount is to use a text-to-speech service. These services have gotten so much better compared to before thanks to AI technology, and while AI-generated voices don't sound exactly the same as human voices, they are still very good enough for most language learners' needs to drastically increase the amount of Korean they listen to. So if there's a passage, a piece of writing that you've written or studied that you haven't listened to yet, turn that into an audio clip and listen to it to bridge the gap between your reading comprehension and listening comprehension. AI tip number 3, when you read a Korean book, if you have, say, more than 5 words that you don't know on a single page, instead of looking up those words, you can simply take a picture of that page and then put that into ChatGPT and have ChatGPT translate the whole page for you and also give you a list of keywords and expressions that you might find useful from the page. Now, you're doing this as well to save time from having to look up words in the dictionary. So even when you're using this AI tool, if you find yourself spending too much time with it or looking up too many words with this method, you can, of course, just skip it and just keep reading or choose a different book that's more suitable for your level. No matter how helpful AI tools are, if you're studying with a material that's too advanced for you or too easy for you, you will not learn much. That is why finding a material that fits your current level is really, really important. Which brings us to the next method. Action item number 3. Find and use a learning material that suits your level. As we were designing the backbone of our curriculum for Talk to Me in Korean, the key idea was to create something that learners can start with and follow along easily for a long time as they advance through higher and higher levels. So we created our 10-level curriculum and have a Korean level test that you can take before you start learning on our website. In addition to the grammar and sentence structure lessons, we also made a ton of listening materials for various levels. But one thing that was still lacking, not only on our end, but in the Korean language education sector in general, was graded reading materials. So, materials that are for different levels for Korean learners. So that is why we created our own graded Korean reading app called Talk to Me in Korean Stories. We put 2 years of hard work, sweat, and tears into it, seriously. So I really hope all of you will give it a try. It's called Talk to Me in Korean Stories. Once again, Talk to Me in Korean Stories. And you will also see a link to it in the description. You can take a quick level test when you open the app and see what you need to read next. Read your Korean stories, learn new words from them, and also test your comprehension through quizzes, and also listen to everything through audio tracks recorded by professional Korean voice actors. So definitely check out our new app, Talk to Me in Korean Stories, and whatever material you're using, if it's not at the right level for you, feel free to choose something a little easier or a little more challenging. Action item number 4, regularly check why you are learning Korean. Because your reasons for learning Korean or a certain language can change over time. And depending on the why, the how should also be different. So if you're learning a new foreign language for the first time and want to build the habit of studying regularly in general, apps like Duolingo, Memrise, and others can be helpful. Like learning through these apps can be mainly centered around vocabulary and memory check, but for beginners to get into the habit of studying something for 10 minutes, 20 minutes a day without having to worry about, making mistakes in front of other people, that in itself is really great, I think. If you'd like to see yourself really understanding how the Korean language works and speaking it at a decent level in the not so distant future, however, you need to invest more time into it. You can choose your own favorite methods, but overall, without setting aside a reasonable chunk of focused learning time, you can't really expect that you will somehow automatically speak Korean fluently in the future. So for this purpose, I recommend online courses and books, which we have a lot of. And one byproduct that you can get by studying with courses and books is that you can also increase your focusing abilities, and learn how to deal with all those distractions and temptations for social media scrolling. So focused study sessions with books and courses will be good for your brain too. If this is your reason, learning to connect with people, you don't want to go on for too long just studying on your own and without speaking or at least chatting online with other people. Continue studying and watching your Korean shows, but add some human interactions to your routine. For example, look for language exchange partners, get a tutor, or at least post on social media in Korean once a week. Doing things like this will help you stay connected with other Korean speakers and learners, and also help you check how well you are learning and what areas you need to double down on. So that is how to study Korean in a more effective and smart way in 2024. Make a routine, use AI tools to maximize your learning amount, practice amount, use materials that suit your level, and definitely check out our stories app, Talk to Me in Korean Stories, our graded Korean reading app, and regularly check why you are learning Korean. And thank you everyone, as always, for studying with Talk to Me in Korean's materials. Be sure to visit us on our website at talktomeinkorean.com for the full Talk to Me in Korean experience, and be sure to follow us on various social media channels that we also operate, because you will get a lot of really fun content, and we will help you stay motivated to continue learning, because learning Korean in itself is meaningful, but learning a new language will help you in so many different ways. So continue studying. I will see you next time. 감사합니다.